call her later, no rush. She's a slim B girl from Decatur. When we first spoke, I could tell she had flavor. My voice box smelled like green hour later.
What's up? Got me feeling like an AC. Cruising with the top down, the weather still amazing. God has been good, so I'ma keep taking dates with her. But if she cheat on me, I promise I'ma find better. This ain't the Oaks, a cold chick with an attitude that is true, but it's expensive if I had to move. So I might do Texas if I had to choose. A lot of people tell me that there ain't much to do, but shoot, I'm in the mood for a better view. You must be tripping if you think there's not a better you. And I got it, CA, you the hottest, but my AZ lady is modest. I know, I think I can find me a better woman. Some girl who defines me as she do it. She knows what's inside me, so I'm doing myself got me finding that I love Cali. I think I can find me a better woman. Some girl who defines me as she do it. She knows what's inside me, so I'm doing myself got me finding that I love Cali. Yeah, I know what to, I do it all for Cali. Yeah, I know what to, I lose it all for Cali. Yeah, I know what to, my only girl is Cali. Yeah, I know what to, it's all I'm.
Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the C&J Sports and Beer Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, the man is back. The man is no longer on vacation. The man is no longer taking days off. The man is no longer playing hooky. You know, the man is back in the flesh. It's been a little lonely, you know, been having to do this by myself. It's been a little lonely. Stage fright the first time around. The second time around, my guest, he pulled a Jared and went hooky and went MIA and didn't want to show up. But ladies and gentlemen, he's back. We're back with another episode. This is episode 7. Today is June 6, 2016. 666. I don't know if you paid attention to that, but I did. June.
I did, but no Illuminati for me, so I didn't really have anything to say on it. No Illuminati for me. I don't rap, so you know.
No, I paid attention to it today when I was sending a few emails, and for some odd reason, I found myself adding the date, which is I normally don't do that, but education world is the field I work in, and we have 3 more days before we send these kids on their summer break and before the employees go away and it's quiet and is paying to the pad to figure out ways we can get better in the food service world, child nutrition that is. So I noticed that today. It kind of freaked me out, the number of times I noticed it. I kind of feel like I'm cursed. I'm probably cursed with that little B curse since I picked OKC to win it all, but we'll say that for another day. Yeah, but as you guys know, this is a C&J Sports and Beer Podcast. We live stream every Monday. We bring you the latest information on sports, beer, our personal lives, the 2 amazing cities we live in. I mean, any and everything we have to share, we will share it with you. And this week, it's going to be something new. Like I said, Jared is back. I'm back. The NBA Finals is back, and cold beer will be back in our glasses. We have a great show lined up for you guys tonight. But before we get into the show, we just want to thank you guys for the support. Thank you for watching live. Thank you for going back on our YouTube channel and watching the old episodes. We can use those views. And thank you for any suggestions, feedback, and the many ways we can make this show better. We appreciate it. The number of views, like I said, that's amazing. The number of shares is amazing. I mean, the live streams have been shared a few times. The last 2 weeks has been shared as we were going on. So we appreciate that. So Jared, I mean, do you want to give thanks too?
I do. We've been doing this since March, and we're glad that we're starting to get a bit of a following. I know Chuck's been sharing it on social media. We're just trying to give you guys something different and new each week, and provide you with quality beers. I'm excited for the beer we're going over today. I've been waiting for a stout reporter to be added to our lineup just to make up for that Belgium watermelon nonsense we had last week. But
Hey, what they say, don't hate the player, hate the game, man.
Oh God,
But
it's a good one
anyways,
this week.
it is a good one. But before we start, I'm gonna throw a curveball because you and the
Curveball.
sweet lady that I know, Marlena May Bennett, had a conversation where she was blasting you and busting your chops. So I'm gonna just throw you a curveball. How was
Throwing me
your
a
weekend?
curveball.
How was your weekend outside of sports? How was your
Oh,
weekend on a personal level? Because I haven't seen you in the virtual world or had a conversation with you outside of text in almost what 2 weeks or so. So let me know what was going on in the world of Jared Hines this past weekend.
Well, I mean, we could catch up on the past couple of weeks, I guess, since I missed the other one. If you want, just go all
Go
out.
ahead.
And
Go ahead.
so,
Go ahead and let us know how you've been out there, catching private flights, sitting first class from
oh
San Diego to San
yeah.
Francisco, enjoying the city.
It was a good time to be out in the Bay Area. Just got away for 5 days, caught up with some old friends from college. Yeah, as everybody knows, the Bay Area is, really proud of the teams they got in the playoffs right now. So I just got to, get away from work for a little bit, try a couple of restaurants, did some wine tasting, checked out a couple of beers in the area. It's a beautiful city, try to go there at least 2 or 3 times a year. Um, and then last weekend, just spent some time with family. Had to go stop by and see Gramps. He's in his 80s, enjoying the retired life, ex-Navy veteran. Went and saw him for a little bit. Caught up with some friends from school. Did a little bit of wine tasting down in San Diego, and then headed back out here. Just got back to the regular routine. So just got to see some family, see some friends. It's always important to spend time with the ones that are close to you. So that was pretty much my
That's true.
weekend and last week too.
Amen to
So
that. Word. Well, you know what? Family, family is important, and being around your family is an important thing. I mean, my weekend was great. On Friday night, me and my lady went to go see a live performance by a gentleman and his band, the Ian James Band, um, which will probably feature some of his music probably at the break, if not at the end of the show, so everyone can know what type of performer or artist he is. And if you check the link after the show via YouTube, I have the link down for the song or the cover song we uh, intend to play. But it was a 2 hour set, which was great because the first time we saw him, I mean, I think he performed well, but you can tell he was a little nervous. I mean, just like you and I, when we first jumped onto the Zoom Hangout, and we knew it was live, you get a little nervous. When we were just doing the audio, and it was just audio, I didn't have to worry about being seen by anyone. You didn't have to worry about that. It was a piece of cake. But to know that we're broadcasting live and this little window right here, boom, 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 is recording some and everyone is seeing it, I mean, you get a little nervous. So you can tell he was a little nervous, but he did an awesome show when we first saw him. And then this last time, it was awesome as well. Like I said, it was about a 2 hour set. And I mean, he did his thing. And I mean, obviously, if you were there, you would have noticed it because it was a group of individuals in front of us who was dancing like they invented it, And if if Tone was around, he would have said they look like a group of swingers, You know how Tone is about pointing out what a group of swingers look like because I mean they were sharing each other, dancing on the floor, giving each other love. I mean, having a great time. And it was pretty cool. The bar is a bar that I'll probably never go back to. Just because
that
the
bad?
location. No, it's not a bad bar. It's just not my scene. But the fact that the artist was there, we wanted to go support him. So me and my lady checked that out on Saturday. It was a bittersweet day for me on Saturday, only because I took a drive down to Lebanon, Oregon, to pick up a vehicle that was owned by a special person. And reason why I say it's a special person because you know how oftentimes we meet people and they may have a lot of positive that's said about them, but they also may have some negative things that's said about them. But I've never met this person, but I've met a lot of individuals that met this person, and I hear nothing but awesome stories, how good of a person this individual was, how free-hearted and open this person was to each and every individual that they have been around. And that individual that I'm referring to, I'm speaking on, is is my brother-in-law. I know that he's not here. Rest in peace to Shane Bennett. Um, I'll never be able to meet him, but I hear nothing but great things about him. But I took a drive down south to Lebanon, Oregon, to pick up his vehicle that has been stored for the last, I don't want to say 3 or 4 years, a 1969 Lincoln Continental. And the ideas that he had for this vehicle, based on what individuals told me, is something that, not only myself, his sister Marlena, his friends, they all want to, go ahead and uh, live out his dreams of what he wanted this vehicle to be. So obviously it's going to cost some change. It's going to cost some money, but it's not one of those projects that need to happen as soon as possible. It's whenever we can make it happen. And I'm glad I'm gonna be a part of something for someone who is so special to each and every one that they were able to touch and be around. So not only was Shane a good person, he was an awesome artist. Um, he was a great brother, a great son, a great uncle, and like I said, I'm sure he would have been a great brother-in-law if he was still around. So that was my weekend. You know what I'm saying? It was music on Friday, picking up a vehicle, and then on Sunday, I had to take the young man out to the community center and get him in the pool. It's been hot here in Oregon since last week. I'm talking 85, 90 plus degree weather. So, I mean, it was a nice warm weekend to stay busy or stay in the house. So, I enjoyed myself, man. I enjoyed myself.
Nice. Good stuff.
Yeah. So, before we proceed and before we get started, best and worst of the weekend. Best and worst of the weekend in sports. What was your best and worst of the weekend, Jared?
Um, my best of the weekend, I always appreciate a good underdog story. Rooting for a bunch of underdogs. A lot of my teams, have always been uh the ones that are trying to rebuild or come up with the upset. So I think the Sharks, winning a game at home, that was my highlight of the weekend. They had the overtime goal winner, or the game winning goal in overtime. So they're down 3-1 in that series right now. Looks like they might be in trouble. Might not be able to capture that first Stanley Cup and first championship in their first appearance, but you never know. They could steal one on the road, go back to their place, and anything could happen. My low light of the weekend, this whole topic, I believe, over the Rangers got a standing after serving Jose Bautista with that famous right hook at second base after Jose Bautista just tried to slide high into second base. I just don't understand why this is getting applauded. The guy was suspended. In any other sport, i.e., football or basketball, there would be, excuse my French, there'd be a shitstorm over this type of behavior. So I just don't understand why it's getting applauded. I know I need to let it go, but it's just not. It doesn't sit right with me.
Yo, some things you can't let go. You have to ride it out until everyone that believes and think like you take notice. And I feel the same way you feel as well. So you're not the only one who's hanging on to it.
Good to know.
Yeah. And well, I
Good to know.
agree. My best of the weekend was I was able to watch the last half of that game, or should I say half of the third period leading into overtime. I decided to go to a buddy house, have a few salmon burgers, knock down a couple beers, and the game was on. So we watched the last half of the third period and the overtime. So it was good to see them win, because we had a conversation nearly 2-3 weeks ago regarding the San Jose Sharks. So
Yep.
since we had that conversation, that's what led me to try to follow the NHL Stanley Cup. Just for that reason. Am I a diehard hockey fan? No. Is that the only game that I probably watched this entire hockey season? Yes. Did I have to look at the box score to understand what was going on since I'm not an avid hockey fan? Yes. So that was my best of the weekend, watching a team that we recently spoke about or had conversations about get a win. Um, so that's that. Worst of the weekend for me is another athlete shot. Aqib Talib was shot after a night of clubbing in Dallas, Texas. And I'm just
Yep.
about to stop right here. Here we go. Public service announcement. All right. 3 words. 3 words you don't want attached to your name. Early Sunday morning. For athletes, you really don't want early Sunday morning attached to your name. Why? No charity events happen early Sunday morning.
Church
No
does.
trades happen early Sunday morning. No big contracts are signed early Sunday morning. But you know what does happen early Sunday morning? People get shot early Sunday morning. People get stabbed early Sunday morning. People get robbed early Sunday morning. And you know what else happened? DUIs get issued out to individuals early Sunday morning. Shout out to Jim Rome for bringing that to the table. I mean, I think I'm not telling these guys they shouldn't party. I'm not telling anyone they shouldn't go out and have fun. But all I got to say is look what happened to Will Smith. Now, obviously, that story is still ongoing and the investigation is still ongoing, but that's just an example. Look what happened to him. Now, the reports say he wasn't injured badly. He went into the hospital. They stitched him up. The bullet went in, went out. It didn't hit any
vital organs,
or any veins or anything that would keep him out of football this season. But I'm just saying, you're coming off a Super Bowl win. You're coming off a big contract signing. I mean, you should try your best to keep your nose clean until all that guaranteed money is secured, because they can end up cutting him. We don't know. They say they aren't, but I mean, he's going to be suspended based on this crazy stuff happening with him. So like I said,
you think so?
Early Sunday morning. I think they're going to do something about it, because the police, they're just not going to, oh, well, he got shot. Whatever. It's going to be an investigation, and that investigation is going to that investigation is going to lead to someone being suspended, someone going to jail. That's what's going to happen. So I mean, the Broncos could, possibly be without him for 1, 2, 3, 4 games. You don't know, especially if Roger Goodell cannot find a way to take down Tom Brady. That means after he set an example for Tom Brady, he's going to set an example for everybody else. So what I'm saying is early Sunday morning, don't have your name attached to it. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me, man. I don't know how you feel
about that. I mean, it's not like it's the first time that's happened. I mean, you look at Brandon Marshall and Darren Williams, rest in peace, Darren Williams. But supposedly Brandon Marshall started that, and the person that shot Darren Williams was actually looking to shoot Brandon Marshall, but wrong place, wrong time. Mm-hmm. Things happen. I mean, Aqib Talib has a history of previous troubles before when he was with the Bucks. I believe there's a domestic dispute. Him and another relative of his went after I believe his sister's boyfriend. There's a domestic incident there. I mean, I've read, I think the LA Times had an article on this, as well as a couple other media outlets. I think people close to Talib are saying that him getting shot was an accident. I don't really know how I feel about that altercation. He may have had something to do with it. He has a previous history. It's kind of hard to say at this point, but yeah, I guess you gotta, stay out of trouble and, don't have the wrong people in your circle. Obviously this guy, I think he just had a $500K roster, some type of $500K bonus clause in his contract. Why throw that away over, a night out? Dallas kind of seems like an odd place for that to happen. I thought Main Street in that area was a pretty nice area, but I don't know what to say. This is a common thing in the NFL. It happens in the NBA. Just, it's a shame. Why throw away millions?
Yeah. And I'm
So,
starting to think the fact that he got shot in a leg and he didn't seriously hurt himself. Do we have a plexico burrs on our hand? You know, did he mistakenly shoot himself?
you really think so?
I mean, you mean you never know. You know what I'm saying? Plexico shot himself. He took himself to
The
the
cheddar
hospital.
bug.
You know, they did what they
Oh
had to do. They
God.
sent him on his way. The next day, Akib Talib. I'm about to mess around and call him the rapper.
Right.
You know,
Not the BKMC. You get the people mixed up.
yo, Talib shoots
BKMC.
himself. Yeah, or he gets shot. He heads to the hospital. They take care of him. Next thing you know, he's on a flight, meeting the president the next day. So I mean,
I thought he was skip.
it's a
I
little
thought he
funky.
skipped it. I thought he
I thought
skipped
they
it.
said I read a report that he was there. So
You know
I don't know.
you.
I could be wrong. I
I
could be
think
wrong.
him and your boy Osweiler skipped it.
Oh yeah, well he skipped it because he's not a part of the team. I don't blame him.
Well, he's salty, but whatever. Him and Elway have some beefs, but whatever.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I mean, before we kick off our first topic in our NBA segment, I see your logo isn't the CNJ Sports and Beer Podcast logo. It's a picture of the late great Muhammad Ali. So I
Yep.
guess you're paying homage, correct?
Paying homage, yeah. If only Kevin Durant paid homage, maybe things would have turned out differently, right? But I've realized the importance of paying homage these days, due to certain curses and whatnot. But it's a pretty disappointing story. I actually heard it on sports radio, driving around town. Once I heard he was hooked up to life support, nice shirt by the way. Once I heard he was
Appreciate it.
hooked up to life support, I kind of figured things weren't going to pan out for the better. It's unfortunate, 74 years of age, but Parkinson's is tough disease tough disease to overcome. So 74 years of age, not bad. I have a grandfather in his 80s that has it. He's still fighting. Still kicking. So that one kind of hit close to home in that since I know someone that does have that as well. So, but I do have good memories. Just catching up on those fights on ESPN Classic. He was a solid fighter more often than not. Backed up what he preached, backed up the trash that he talked, finishing 56-5 for his career. So I always enjoyed watching his fights, just how he kind of taunt his opponents. He had the lanky arms, the quick jab, good footwork. So he'll be missed. Definitely, you see a lot of athletes doing tributes to him. Even the Donald Trumps of the world were giving tributes and positive praise. So
Hey, Donald Trump trying to do anything he can do to get those votes, man. So I don't blame him. You got to get it how you live out here if you're trying to become the president. Whatever way
pretty
you can
much
sway people, you got to get people to jump on that wagon.
jump
But
on the
I mean,
wagon.
I wasn't born at the time where Ali was out there causing havoc in the ring or doing all the political having a political stance to what was going on in the world. You know, not fighting in the war. Going to prison instead of fighting. Standing up for what he believed in. I wasn't around during that time, so only thoughts and memories I have in my head in reference to Ali, to what he did as a person for standing up for his beliefs and watching things on YouTube, listening to Floyd Mayweather say he's the best boxer ever. I mean, that's all I have to go by. But today, listening to the radio and reading a few internet stories that were posted, I mean, Ali did a lot for not only boxing but for the world. And I mean, I put him up there with the likes of Jackie Robinson and Jesse Owens for what they were able to do as just black men in a time where what I'm saying, we didn't necessarily have a voice. And I don't want to put myself in this category of we, but I am a black man living in this world, and I sort of kind of have a voice now. But back then, those individuals didn't have a voice because people didn't want them to do what they believed in. So, I applaud him for just the stance of doing what he believed in, more of that than what he did in boxing ring.
To interject, not interject, but to go piggyback off what you said, Mr. TBE himself called Muhammad Ali, the greatest ever.
No. Just from hearing what Ali did as a boxer each and every time, Mayweather would say he is the best boxer ever.
Yeah. So Mayweather,
TBE.
Mr. TBE himself said that.
Yeah, he said that. Floyd said he's the best boxer ever. That's why it's TBE, the best boxer ever.
No, I know, but I'm saying he said Ali was the best boxer ever. Or,
No. He said
oh, I was
he is. So
confused.
every time that he would say
Uh,
that, and I'm sorry if I'm confused, I confuse you. Every time he
yeah.
would say that, then that's when they would go in the history of the best boxers to ever box, and then Ali Mayweather
Oh, okay.
one, and that's when you would see what Muhammad Ali did when he was a prize fighter back in the day, um, and what he did after that when he came back, because 3 years of his career was taken away due to the fact that he went to jail, or he was incarcerated based on the fact that he didn't want to enter the draft and go to war.
And that brings up another question I wanted to ask you. Knowing that you, served time in the Marines, how does that sit with you that he chose not to go fight for his country, knowing that you've spent time in the Middle East doing just that?
I mean, I guess it depends on what type of person. I have a choice. I have a choice now to do it, and I have a choice if I do not want to do it. So, back then they didn't necessarily have a choice. You either you joined and you fought for the country, or you went to jail. So I mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, that's the decision he made. I mean, if I feel any kind of way about Ali based on the fact that I joined, I wanted to do that, I volunteered and I wasn't voluntold, then I mean, I would have a problem with you. I would have a problem with the guy who's standing at the corner catching a bus. I would have a problem with the guy who's walking around a grocery store buying groceries who
Well,
didn't
not
serve.
quite.
So,
Well, no, I don't agree with that because he had no choice. Well, I guess he had a choice to go to jail, but
yeah.
that's different as opposed to whether or not now we have the choice to sign up or not. He was drafted, which means you have an obligation to serve, and he chose not to, and that's obviously against the law. And he went to jail as a result. Me not choosing to go take the ASVAB after high school and go serve, I mean that's the rules are different now. So that
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't rub
understand that.
you a certain
I,
way.
no, I understand that. Where you're coming from, what I'm saying is, ultimately, he had an option. He had an option to be voluntold or to go to jail. His option was
Okay.
to not be voluntold to go to jail. So he had an option. Granted, it's not the option that you would think somebody would take, but that's what he believed in. And today we have an option. We have an option to not do it, and there's no consequences. We have an option to do it, and there may be consequences, not a consequence to you, but a consequence to your family if you don't come back safe. So for me, like I said, if I felt any way about Ali, then, I should feel that way about other people. And maybe other people won't feel the same way I feel, but what I'm saying is there was an option back then. The option that you decided to take that wasn't the right option was negative. Today, the option you take is positive if you do it, and it's positive if you do not do it. So you know what I'm saying? I guess it is what it is, but I don't look at him any way, shape, form, or fashion than I looked at someone who volunteered and they wanted to do it just because they wanted to do it.
Okay, I was just curious on what. I just wanted to get a perspective of someone that served and how they felt about
Yeah.
something like that. But no worries.
All right. Well, first, hey, let's get off into I guess a 2-minute recap of game one, game two. You go ahead, take it off for 2 minutes, sir. Just 2 minutes of your thoughts on game one and game two before we slice it and dice it and break it down.
Where do I begin? I'm just really disappointed in Believeland. As you can see, my little header down here, I have GG Believeland, which means good game because I think they're done. Especially if Mr. Love can't come back from his concussion. I'm assuming he will since he traveled with the team. I just think they're done. I mean, from the turnovers to the lack of a desire to play defense by Kyrie and Kevin Love, to LeBron's poor shooting in game one, to the lack of ball movement and Kyrie Irving looking like he wants to audition for the latest and one mixtape, playing ISO ball. I just don't know where to begin with this team. They put up more of a fight last year with less personnel. It's just really disappointing to see them go out like this. I mean, if they win game 3, it's still a series, but if they lose game 3, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's over. The field goal percentage is poor. Switching on screens is poor. I don't know how many weak side layups they gave up, at least 2 or 3 in game 1, just backdoor, not communicating on pick and rolls. When it's a pick and roll, the same thing I scream at people at LA Fitness for. If someone's getting picked, 2 people can't jump the screen and go after the guy with the ball. Somebody's got to get the guy that's going to roll or pop or something, like to the roll to the basket, or if he's going to pop out, someone has to go with the screener. Someone has to go with the guy with the ball. Like it's just sad to see them go out this way. You know, I wanted them to win this series, but I picked Golden State just because I just didn't, as I've told you and griped to you many times, I felt they should have upgraded at the 2, gotten rid of J.R. Smith. As we see, do 2 games. What has he really done? I'll give him a pass on the first game, only 3 shot attempts. I can't really fault him for only having 3 shot attempts if he's a guy, a catch and shoot type of guy. You know, he had a couple of boneheaded turnovers at the beginning of the game, but I'll give him a pass on game 1, but game 2, I needed to see something. I didn't see it. And as we all know, he's a hot and cold, streaky guy. I just feel like that's not the type of guy you want on the finals team. He has unlimited range when he's hot, but that team, if they lose, they might have to dump a couple of these starters and figure something out. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows if LeBron stays? I don't know, but it's just not looking good right now for them.
Okay. Well, as you know, I decided to ride with the king. I decided to ride with King James. Everybody can see it.
Where the hell did you get that?
I decided to ride with King James. I know we didn't do a
where the
prediction
hell
show,
did you get that?
but I decided to ride with LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I mean,
Wow.
game 1 and game 2, I mean, like I always say, what do I always say, Jared? The home team is supposed to win. The home team is supposed to take care of business. I posted on Facebook last night some verbiage as, you know, if you expected anything different in game 1 and game 2, I feel sorry for you. So
I expected a fight.
A fight, or a fight as in a fight.
Like I expected Cleveland. Like I expected Cleveland to put up a fight. Like didn't they pull the starters with like 9 minutes yesterday? Or was that yesterday? Yeah, 9 minutes. I mean, they just gave up. At least try and go on one run, and if you can't, then pull them. But 9 minutes.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you know what? I feel the same way as you in regards to that game. But I mean, I just, you know what? I'm taking it at face value. The Golden State Warriors did what they had to do. They embarrassed the Cavs. They proved to the Cavs that, you know what, no matter if you have Kevin Love or Kyrie Irving, we're still going to beat you. If LeBron James is on your team, we're still going to beat you. If the 2 best players on our team has an off night, we're still going to beat you because we have 3 or 4 guys on our team that can be starters on any team in the West and any team in the East. So I just took it as, you know what,
we're not talking about Harrison Barnes, are we?
We're talking about any 3 or 4 players on that team can be. I mean, you don't have to believe this if you
must be talking about Bogut, not Barnes. I'll give you that. I'll give you Bogut.
3 or 4 of those guys. 3 or 4 of those guys can be starters on any team in the West, and they most definitely, probably their whole bench could be starters on any team in the East. How whack and sorry the East is. So, like I said, I took it as face value, only because I know 2 games have to be played in Cleveland. So I was listening to a radio segment today, and one of the hosts said, you know, if you're one of those individuals that believe that, oh, the home team did what they're supposed to do, they're supposed to win, then you're flat out crazy. And I had to scratch my head and like, well, you know what? Maybe I might just be crazy. But, you know, the Cavs have the opportunity to go back home and win 2 games, or at least work on winning game 3 and then try to win game 4. Did the Golden State Warriors perform at a high level in game 1 and game 2?
Yeah.
Or the Cavaliers playing hide and seek and they just hid in the best possible hiding places that you can to never be found? Yes, they did. Um, do they need to make some adjustments? Yes, they do. So, I mean, other than that, I mean, I don't think it was born basketball as you mentioned a couple days ago that it was born. The lacks of 3-point shooting, the lacks of people getting crossed over, getting broken, that didn't happen. But I was, like I said, I thought it was exciting based on the fact that the Golden State Warriors don't need Steph or Clay or Draymond to go out there and have a good game for them to win. And the Cavs need to figure out what they need to do. So next time, if they run into a situation where two of I guess you can say three or two of the four best players on that team is having a rough night, the Cavs can steal a game. So, I mean, with that being said, what are 5 positives and 5 negatives that you notice and seen in game 1 and game 2?
Just from everybody. If we're gonna be optimists for the land, James, LeBron's ability to get to the paint. I mean, no one on the Warriors is going to be able to stop him when he's on the block or when he's in the paint. He got stripped a couple of times. Iguodala had some decent defense on him, but 6'8", 250 pounds is a freight train going to the basket. If he continues to attack the basket, he'll continue to put up numbers. I feel like he's going to have to average at least 30 these next few games for them to have a chance. But that's one thing I noticed: LeBron's ability to get into the paint at will whenever he wants. They won the rebounding battle in game 1. They shot 90% from the line. I think that's another plus. If we're gonna go look at the Warriors, they're a deep team. That's a plus. You can play almost everybody off the bench, and they'll be able to contribute in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's a Varejao flop, a Livingston mid range, an Azili dunk, or a rebound. Iguodala defense. You got guys to contribute. What was that?
Wait, you said a Varejao what?
A flop. A Varejao flop. One of the biggest floppers in the game. One of the biggest floppers in the game. Yes.
He's
a what?
He is an actor.
When he retires, he'll be in a daytime soap opera. He's great. He'll make something happen. He'll have an acting career. But so bench depth, ability to shoot in transition from the Warriors. I mean, I don't know why Lou came out and said he wanted to match them and go play run and gun, because who else plays run and gun better than them? They led the league in transition points. I think they're the only team in the regular season to average over 20 a game, and Cleveland was almost they were in the bottom tier at about 11 and some change transition points per game. So I don't know what the point of that was. That didn't make any sense. But and then another plus is of course the 3 ball. How many guys on Golden State can get hot from 3? I mean, hell, Spates can hit 3s now. So on any given night, between 4 or 5 players, someone can get off.
Okay.
Some negatives I saw: lack of bench depth on the Cavs. I mean, if Richard Jefferson is how old now? 50, 55. I mean, if that's the only person you can rely on besides Kyrie, they're in trouble. J.R. Smith needs to wake up and have one of his J.R. Smith games where he goes 9 of 12 from 3. Dellavedova and his dumbass. I don't understand this guy, hitting people in the balls, taking out people's legs, just not really contributing much. He was minus 19 in the first game, 1 assist, 2 points, 1 of 3 from the field. That's your backup point guard. I mean, hell, Mo Williams could probably give you more than that, and he's ancient too. Lack of ball movement, I think that's something that's killing Cleveland and will continue to kill Cleveland. Kyrie Irving really only averages about 4.5 assists a game. Not really the facilitating type of guard. Doesn't really like to move the ball around. Would rather go one-on-one and take it to the basket. Has some of the best handles in the league. But, you got to move the ball around, find the open man, let LeBron get to the paint, and, facilitate. That's the best passer in the league. Obviously, it's the best passer on Cleveland. I just don't think that Kyrie Irving's the type of. I mean, he was 7 for 22 in the first game. That's why I was really glad when the Clippers decided to pass on the Kyrie for CP3 rumors, because Kyrie's just not the type of point guard that's going to be a floor general and run your offense. He was a negative too. LeBron had missed a few layups. Tristan Thompson missed some close putbacks. If they're going to win, they got to score the thing. Kevin Love had a pretty bad game the first game, posting up, and went 7 for 17 from the field, only 2 of 5 mistakes. So I say the big negatives that I saw. Cleveland doesn't figure out all around how to play better defense and how to get some bench scoring. They're going to lose 4 or 5.
All right, just 1 second.
As simple as that.
Jared, you might want to. Okay, you're back. You're back for some odd reason. It got a little fuzzy on your end, so I think your connection may be chopping a little bit on us. So if you want to, you can just mute or block out the camera for a minute to let your system catch up. And when you think it's ready, you can go ahead and toss it on. But you kind of chopped up on us for 15 seconds. But you can finish. You can finish whenever.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, that was pretty much it. If they don't figure those few things out, if they don't move the ball around, play better defense, and get some bench contributions, they're done. Simple as that.
Okay. Well, for me, 5 positives between game 1 and game 2, 45-10. Golden State bench did work. Livingston, Barbosa, X factors for game 1. I didn't see that coming from either of those players. Draymond Green was unstoppable in game 2. What he had, close to 30 points, if I'm not mistaken, 26.
I think he had like 20, 24, 26 yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he was unstoppable in game 2. Team defense. This is being, how can I put it? We're spending more time worrying about what the Cavs need to do and what individual players are doing on offense in regards to what Golden State is doing. But I think we need to focus on their team defense. They're playing some great team defense, and they're finding ways to shut LeBron James down, really shut Kyrie Irving down, and also make Kevin Love look like he doesn't belong on the floor. So I think that's great. Curry had an off game, but he was a great decoy. So that was a good thing. I would say a positive thing, the fact that he can go out and be on the court, move without the ball, run around screens when he knows he's not going to receive the ball, and he's drawing 2, sometimes 3 players, or they're going with all these backdoor cuts, slip screens, in and out of the paint, and the Cavs are looking around like, oh, you supposed to have them. Why didn't you have them? You supposed to have them. So as far as positive thing, I mean, Golden State is doing any and everything they want to do against the Cavs. So like I said, 45-10, how can the bench outscore your bench by 35 points, 30 points, outscore them by 30 points or 35 points? That's pitiful.
Yep.
You can't let Livingston and both Barbosa have enormous games. Draymond Green, he's going to get his, but 26 points, I mean, you can't beat that. And on a night where Clay and Steph are playing regular ball, that's awesome. And like I said, Curry as a decoy is another positive thing for the Warriors. Negatives, and this is all the Cavs. Like I said, you can't get outscored. You can't only score 10 points. Now, yesterday it was relatively close. I think it was 40-30. So they performed semi-well. Not great, but semi-well. Cavs had 17 turnovers, which led to 25 Golden State points. If you're going to turn the ball over, at least try to stop them on the fast break. And less than half of those points were fast break points. So, I mean, cut that down. Let them go down on the opposite end of the court and set up their offense and get through their offense to make plays. Don't get beat on fast break plays. So it was less than half points for fast breaks, but I mean, you just got to get back on defense. 7 for 22.
I mean, how many supposed to have?
What's that?
And how many legs are both to have just by like outlet?
Roger that. Yeah. So I think we had Kyrie at 7 for 22 in game one, 5 for 14 in game two. He has more turnovers than assists, 6 to 5. So he has to fix that. As you mentioned, it looked like he's out performing for the and one mixtape. He's just got to get through the offense and get LeBron James the ball, get LeBron James in the post. Because as you mentioned, no one can stop LeBron James on the Warriors team if he's operating down low. You did give Dre or J.R. Smith credit, and you didn't throw him under the bus. But I mean, 3 baskets in game one. Normally, you can't even stop this guy from shooting. So I'm wondering, did he take himself out of the game because he didn't perform any better in game two than he did in game one? And when I mean take himself out of the game, did he check out mentally? He only took 6 shots in game two. So he's what, 3 for 9. He's shooting 33% from the field. And he's someone, like you said, he's got range. He can go to distance. He's a streaky player. He needs to take as many shots to get hot. So I expect to see something better from him in game three. But right now, his performance, as well as the performance from Kevin Love, Kyrie, and even LeBron James, it's not spectacular at all. And if they perform the way they did in game one and game two, it's not going to look great in game three. So that's my take. Do you have anything else you want to add on the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Golden State Warriors?
Feel like game is a must win. They don't have no business. Nope. Just sad to see that LeBron going with 5 in a row, got their teams either couldn't have something special for him if he wins this finals. I mean, I think he's tarnished if he goes to 5. Like he fired assistant coach David Blatt, picked his coach Tyronn Lue. He had in the Wiggins for Love trade, got J.R. Smith acquisition. It's just like these acquisitions are really panning out. So sometimes, you get to choose the deck of cards and it doesn't pan out. So it's just kind of sad to see things go out this way. But Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love definitely are not Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. So
that is true.
Gotta live with the decisions you make sometimes.
You do. That's true. They are not Dwayne Wade or Chris Bosh. Okay. I mean, that concludes our NBA talk for the moment. But we're going to jump into some hockey talk in the San Jose Sharks. Now, if you remember, if you went back to watch a few of our old videos, we had this segment where we compared the likes of the Sacramento Kings to the San Jose Sharks. And this was more of a conversation that Jared mentioned. So, Jared, I mean, if you'd like, you can go ahead and get your camera back on. Maybe we can get a good feed going because we've been choppy a little bit on your end, and you can go ahead and smooth us into this conversation regarding the San Jose Sharks. Give the fans a recap of what we spoke about in the past, and we already touched on what happened in Game 3. Sharks got the win, but let's just have a compare and contrast. Let's bring out the Venn diagram and bring in that past conversation with what's going on with the San Jose Sharks today, although they did lose the game. So the floor is yours, brother. Just 1 second. Here, hold it. Yes, fans, you know what? We're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back. We're going to play some music for you guys, some music by the Ian James Band. Enjoy the music. Like I said, we'll be back. We're going to try to work out our audio and our connection feed. For some odd reason, we're getting a bad connection feed. So I'm going to take a quick break. Stand by. We're taking our break earlier than normal, but stand by. We're going to play some tunes from Ian James and the Ian James Band. We hope you enjoy. We'll see you guys in a brief moment.
Hey, pretty baby with the high heels on, you
Give me people like I never ever known. You're just a product of your loveliness. I like the groove of your walk, your talk, your dress. I feel your fever from miles around. I'll pick you up in my car and we'll paint the town. Just kiss me, baby, and tell me why. You're the one for me, the way you make me feel. You really turn me on, yeah. You knock me off of my feet now, pretty baby. My lonely days are gone, yeah. Ooh, baby, I like the feeling you're giving me. Just hold me, baby, and I'm in ecstasy. Oh, I'll be working from 9 until 5, yeah, to buy you things that keep you by my side. I never felt so in love before. Promise, baby, love me forevermore. I swear I'm keeping you satisfied. You're the one for me, the way you make me feel. You really turn me on, yeah. You knock me off of my feet now, pretty baby. My lonely days are gone, yeah. Ooh, baby, never felt so in love before. Promise, baby, love me forevermore. I swear I'm keeping you satisfied. You're the one for me, the way you make me feel, yeah. You feel that turn me on, yeah. You knock me off of my feet now, pretty baby. My lonely days are gone. The way you make me feel, you really turn me on, yeah. You knock me off of my feet now, pretty baby. My lonely days are gone, yeah. The way you make me feel, yeah, 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 yeah. Turn me on, yeah. You knock me off of my feet now, pretty mama. My lonely days are gone, yeah. The way you making me feel, yeah, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Hope you enjoyed the sounds of the Ian James Band. We were having some technical difficulties, but hopefully we're able to work those out here the second time around. Please forgive us, and we're sorry, but we're operating in 2 different locations. I'm up in the Pacific Northwest in the city of Portland, and Jared is down in Southern California in Irvine. So, sometimes we have those issues, but, we're back, and we're here to get funky with you guys again. So, before we went away, we were having a brief talk and speaking on the San Jose Sharks. And as you guys know, a few weeks back, Jared and I had a discussion on the San Jose Sharks. Are they the real deal? Are they not? Can you compare them to the Sacramento Kings, a team that was able to get you close, get you to the championship, but not win the championship, or get you to that Western Conference Finals only to lose to the team that went on to win the championship that year? So it was something that Jared brought to the table, and I'm going to let Jared take over this segment here just for a brief moment before we move on to what you all have come here to watch, and that's the beer segment. So take it over, Jared.
I'm sure. So as we had mentioned before, we were wondering if the Sharks were going to, finally get to the promised land. They started out In the early 90s. That's when they first started playing. They have a couple players on their team right now. I believe Joe Thornton and Patrick Merlot that have never played in the Stanley Cup, and they've both been in the league for over 10 years. As the number 3 seed this year, they were finally able to make it to the Stanley Cup, but they were not favored to win. The Penguins have some veterans on their team, such as Crosby and Malkin, and they were heavily favored to win this series. They started off winning the first two. The Penguins started off winning the first 2 games at home, and the Sharks were able to get a game at home in overtime the other evening. But unfortunately, they lost tonight, and they're looking like they might get finished in 5 games. To kind of follow up on that conversation we had before, I can't really fault them in this series because I mean, I want to look at something to compare it to, but I almost want to kind of go to the '07 Spurs Cleveland, series where we knew that the Cavs realistically didn't have much a chance of winning it. So I wouldn't really call this a choke job if they do end up losing in 5 games. So might have to kind of backtrack on my comments there about comparing them to the Kings, because I believe in some of those series the Kings were favored.
They were.
But now looking at this series right now, I just think that the Sharks might be outmatched just in terms of veteran power and talent. I think you can kind of parallel to the Caps and Spurs back in the '07. I just don't think that Sharks have the star power to win this series.
Okay. Well, I mean, just to give the fans a recap of what went on in game 3, and I would give you my thoughts on what the Sharks need to do to win game 4. But according to Jarrett earlier in the hangout, the Sharks lost that game by, what was the score?
3-1.
3-1. So I mean, they lost 3-1, and they're down in the series 3-1. So in game 3, the Sharks gave up an early goal in the first period. They eventually tied it up before the first period ended. In the second period, the Sharks went scoreless. They didn't score a game or score a point in that second period, and it looked like the game was finished. However, in the third period, the Sharks tied the game, and they went on to win the game in OT 3-2. And they showed us how a team should bounce back in a game 3 at home. And the only reason why I say they showed us, because I think that's something that the Cleveland Cavaliers should do. Instead of watching game tape of the Golden State Warriors, they should watch game tape of the San Jose Sharks to see how you bounce back in a game at home when you're down in the series. Now, obviously, they don't want to go back and watch game 4, because you and I both know what happened to the Sharks in game 4. They got dusted 3-1. So maybe then the Cavs can go back and watch tape of the Golden State Warriors. But before I end this mini hockey talk, I just want to say Marshawn Lynch was present at the game and before the game. He actually walked the Sharks down the tunnel. And
Really?
really. One infamous quote that I'll always remember that Marshawn Lynch said was, "I'm about that action, boss." I'm about that action, boss. And on Saturday night, the Sharks were about that action. Now, it didn't carry over to tonight, but that's all right, because like you said, maybe they can go still one on the road, bring it back to their home, and make it a series again. But it's is looking bleak, and it's not looking like something that can possibly happen. And I like the comparison that you made, saying that this series is similar to the '07 series between the Spurs and the Cleveland Cavaliers. We all knew that the Cavaliers were outmatched, and we knew the Spurs were the superior team. And that's what it's looking like in this series too. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they've been around for some time. They've been in the Stanley Cup Finals a number of times. They've
I believe they won in
number of
09.
times. Yeah, so what I'm saying, they've been there, they've done that. They still have their core of winners on that team, and also some free agents that they brought in for that team to still make them relevant. So the the Sharks, they're still that Cinderella team, still trying to get there, still clawing, and eventually they will get there. But tonight, I was hoping, at least I was hoping, that they got the W tonight because I had some great pointers that I wanted to share on why, or if they did XYZ, this would be the reason why they would win the game. So unfortunately, I can't share that with you, but if they can head back to Pittsburgh, make it a game and get a win, and they can come back home, then maybe I'll have new reasons after seeing them get a victory there in game 5 will be. So moving on, like I said, the reason why everyone come and watch C&J Sports and Beer podcast. You know, a lot of people out there, they really like sports and they really like what we bring to the table. But a lot of individuals are, wondering like, yo, I'm here for the beer. I want to know what's great to drink. I want to know when to drink it. I want to know which companies that I should support, which breweries that I should visit, and what is the top beer that I should be drinking so I don't look like a square when I'm at my local bottle shop, when I'm at the brew pub, when I'm at the bar. So tonight we're going to be drinking something out of San Diego,
amazing,
California, something out of this little island, little area called Coronado, something that's dark, something that's been aged because it was a 2015 release, something that looks very tasty. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. This will be the first time that I've had this beer. This is the first time. If
you've been sleeping. Gotta wake up, bruh.
I have to. But Coronado Brewing, Stupid Stout 2015. It's an Imperial Stout, 9%. According to the bottle, you should get notes or the bottle notes, what they tell you about the beer. Deep dark color, robust. It's chocolatey. You can get some a hint of hop freshness. Recommended that you age the beer. So this beer was released November 2015, November 13, 2015. Currently, this beer is 6 months, 3 weeks old. So it's aged for, about half a year already. So it sounds like Jared has already cracked his open. I'm going to go ahead and crack mine open. And Jared, you can go ahead and bless us with your knowledge on this beer since I've been sleeping. I've heard you mention this beer a few times. So, I mean, you seem like you're the expert on this beer. So go ahead and break us off with some knowledge.
Man, well, I'm glad we finally decided to add a stout to our lineup. We've been, messing around with some other nonsense. I'll leave the New Belgium alone for now. But like you had said, this one definitely has robust chocolatey notes with the hint of hop freshness. I didn't really taste the hop in this one, but as most people would say, the L. Smith Speedway Stout is supposedly the best stout that's out right now. I think it might be the most overrated stout that's out right now.
When you say what out right now, do you mean out as in terms of San Diego craft beer or globally? United States.
I mean, I'm not gonna go global. I'm not gonna go global. I'll say in the United States, what I've read and what people seem to say on Beer Advocate and whatnot is that the Speedway is the best stout out right now. I think it's just overrated. I think you get more of a dark chocolatey flavor from the Stupid Stout. I think the Speedway has a little bit too much of a vanilla hint. It's a little bit too sweet. So there's also a barrel aged version of this as well, but in addition to the Imperial Stout that we're having right now, the 2015 one, I believe there's also just a regular Stupid Stout as well. But looking on Beer Advocate, it looks like the people have spoken and given this beer a 87 out of 100. So it looks like the hipsters were able to get away from their sours and bless this beer with 87 out of 100. So yeah, it's seasonal. It's out. You can find it at Bevmo right there, or Bevmo right now for those of you in California. Bevmo or Total Wine, depending on the location, should have it. So we're gonna give this one a 4.8 out of 5 stars. Though, what do you think? I went
Well,
out
I
on a
mean,
limb.
it's dark. I mean, it's really dark, and it smells good. It smells really good. I can taste a little bit of the hops, just on the back layers of my tongue. That's mostly where that IPA hoppiness hits me in the back layers of my tongue. It's not as hoppy, but it's kind of there. This is my first time, so being my first time, I have to finish it and then have it again before I can rate it. But I
The
can tell
hell?
you right now, I would love to have it straight out the keg on tap to see how it tastes then, because you know although it's been aged, but it's been in that bottle for some time. I would rather taste this beer on tap straight out of the keg first. Wasn't able to do that for most beers that I would like to review and like to have again. I try my best to taste them on tap first. But I can't say, if I were just to go in and give this a score, then I'll probably rate it about 4.5, just like you, 4.5, only because, like I said, this is my first time. And there's a porter, an imperial porter, that I think tastes better than this. But
What?
this imperial porter is $22 a bottle. It's rate it's a 94 on Beer Advocates. And I actually got it here in
Damn
a box.
hipsters.
I need to
Let's see it.
ship this to a buddy of mine, so it's packaged. So I'll unpackage it, but I need to ship this to a buddy. But it's from a brewery here in Southern Oregon, Ashland, Oregon. This is called a Mowgli. It's a bourbon barreled age imperial chocolate porter.
So they got a dog on the cover. All right.
Yeah. So from what I was told regarding this beer, um, it was a dedication to the brewer's dog. His dog died, and he decided to create a beer based on his chocolate lab. Now, I've had this beer plenty of times, and it's the non BBA version. It's still a imperial chocolate porter, but it's non bourbon barrel aged. And like I said, that one is rated a 94 on Beer Advocates. And just based on the number of times, I want to say 4 times I've had the original Mowgli since I've moved here. Just I'm not even done with this, but I can say that Imperial Chocolate Porter will blow this stupid stout out the water. Now that's just my opinion. That's just one person. Not saying that the stupid stout isn't great. It's pretty good, but I've had an Imperial Porter that tastes better than this one. So that's just me.
Well, you and the members of Beer Advocate, maybe you just don't know what you're talking about. But I can't say anything until I give this beer a try. I'm sure DMX would approve with the dog on the front. I think that's very cute. Very very caring. Peter would approve as well. But I can't really say anything about that beer until I give it a try. So.
Well, you will be here in less than what, 5 weeks? In less than 4 weeks. Yeah, you come here July
Special
2nd.
special edition live from the PDX, right?
Yeah, so I'll make sure I have that bottle. But before we stall out, we're gonna move on to our beer segment. And in the future, or I can say within the next 6 weeks, or during the course of the next 6 weeks, our talk will range from baseball, free agency, soccer, and strictly half of our podcast will be beer related topics. And the first beer related topic is going to be on an article that Jared and I both read. The title of the article is called "A Big Beer Merger May Flatten America's Beer Market." And this article is about Budweiser and how AB InBev is trying to come in, team up with another big brewer, and totally phase out everyone in the market. So it all started when Budweiser temporarily changed the name of their flagship beer, Budweiser. Budweiser changed its name to America. And that sparked a lot of talk and a lot of controversy between people who drink beer and people who don't drink beer because they don't want the United States to be known as all about beer or all about alcoholics or whatnot. But temporarily, they're going to change the name of Budweiser to America. They followed that change up with the finalization of a $107 billion merger with SAB Miller, the world's second largest brewer. All right. So you got the world's number one and the number two brewers teaming up to be one big company. Okay. $107 billion franchise, you know. Now, if you had $107 billion, you can sign uh every top 10 player in the NBA to your roster. All right. So obviously, before this goes into effect, you know, the federal antitrust authorities need to weigh what it means for the growing number of small brewers and independent distributors. Now, a
Sounds
few
like a
reports
monopoly,
have
honestly.
it does. It does. You know, a few reports have suggested that this deal will be approved by the end of the month. So most of the reports that are surfacing through the web and through word of mouth are suggesting that, you know what, at the end of the day, this deal is going to go through and number one and number two are going to combine together. It is what it is. If this happened, the merger could stifle consumers' choice and choke off America's beer renaissance. Okay. There's more breweries in this country than it has been in any time in the history of this country. Currently, there's about 4,300 brewery, and they're popping up every year. Sometimes every month, every week, a new brewery is popping up because people are getting creative. People are seeing what's happening with these other small time breweries that were around for 2 to 3 years. Next thing you know, they're being bought out for 500 million bucks, $1 million, or they're combining with this company to be represented by this company and be a part of this company, although they really want to be their own company, but they can't because of the lack of funds. So, however, the tough part of this, I guess you can say, grouping or tag teaming between AB InBev and SAB Miller is going to be tough for smaller breweries like C&J Brewery of Southern California and the Pacific Northwest. State laws don't allow brewers to sell their product themselves. Instead, they have them use a distributor. So that's one thing you need to know and understand. Um, and some of these distributors hold enormous sway over which beers end up on the shelves at the store and the bars or at the restaurant. Um, so this is where it get twisted. AB InBev is the largest brewer and the biggest distributor in the United States. In several states, the laws allow the company to distribute its own beer, and most markets only have one or two distributors. So in several states, it's 50 states. So several could be 60% of the states. AB InBev can brew their own beer and they can also distribute their own beer. And in most states, there's only two distributors. So, you know, in majority of those states, Anheuser-Busch is probably the number one distributor there. And the second distributor may be SAB Miller's because they're the second largest brewer next to AB InBev. So the company has recently increased its control over beer distribution industry by purchasing five independent distributors. So not only are they probably the number one distributor in a state, they're going around purchasing five other distributors within those states or within those regions. So I guess at the end of the day, this means that Anheuser-Busch is trying to find a way that they can focus on building its own brand while effectively and legally shutting out competing craft brands. They already own 45% of the domestic beer market, and they try their best to buy out any other beer distributor or any other small brewers. And if you can recall, I mean, they've recently bought out Golden Road. They bought out a brewery in Arizona called Four Peaks. They brought out Breckenridge, which is in Colorado.
Goose
They
Island.
brought out, yeah, Goose Island. There's also a Michigan Virtue Cider. They bought them out. 10 Barrel, Oregon. We all know about that. And then they also bought out a brewery up in Washington. They bought them out. So I guess if the merger between the two largest brewers in the United States, if they merge together, each year they would gross $64 billion in annual revenue. They would control over 29% of the global beer market, and they will hobble out all their competitors in both production and at the distribution level. So, being a craft beer drinker, starting off drinking domestic beers by Anheuser-Busch, or even beers by Coors, your Bud Light, your Coors Light. What else is out there that us young folks drink? Corona, Modelo. Being someone who started off at the lower level of alcohol consumption, now jumping up to the higher level with craft beer. How do you feel about the merger between Anheuser-Busch, AB InBev, and SAB Millers?
Um, Looking at it from their perspective, I can understand why they're doing what they're doing. To allow them to have a large control over the beer market. They're recognizing the potential and the talent with these other beers, and they have the cash to buy them out and control the distribution, control the stores, etc. So from their perspective, I can understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. But as a consumer of beer and someone that came into the craft brew scene probably in 2008, just trying beers at the local pub on campus, just learning about the different little breweries, enjoying my time in San Diego, checking out the small breweries, hearing the stories of how people got into the industry, etc. As a fan of craft beer, I don't think it's a good thing. A lot of these guys are getting bought out. Ballast, we all know, got bought out for $1 billion. I just don't really like the direction this is going in. It's becoming too corporate. I feel like it's just like a matter of time before somebody gets bought out, or they're going to lose control after this merger, just because the market's going to be dominated by these two large companies. So I don't think it gives the smaller breweries much of a chance to survive. In that article we're going to touch upon later, you can see Stone's trying to jump into the mix too and kind of follow suit for what these other big companies are doing too. So I don't really think it's a good thing for the up and coming guys. It kind of reminds me. Let me know if this comparison's out of whack, but
Okay.
let me know if this comparison's kind of out of whack. You know how Silver and these guys, in the NBA, kind of wanted to make the NBA fair in terms of the Bucks have as much chance to get a ring as the Spurs and the Heat, etc. It's kind of feeling like that. Like all the big dogs are the same ones that are going to kind of keep on being in the limelight and whatnot, and the little guys aren't really going to have much of a chance to survive this. Kind of follow the logic there? A little
So yeah,
bit.
I do. Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. I do. I do.
So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not saying I can predict the future, but I feel like a lot of these guys are going to get bought out, and then just the big wigs are just going to control the market and what's distributed, etc. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but coming from an individual who I wish I had the opportunity to drink other beers outside of my market. So, as you know, you and I both are in um, a Facebook group called Brothers and Craft Beer. Um,
Yep.
this group allows us to connect with individuals who enjoy drinking good beer like we do. However, there's beers out there that it's hard for us to get based on the fact that it's all the way on the East Coast. So,
Yep.
in order for me to get an East Coast beer, I have to package one beer. I have to package another beer. I have to package two or three beers. make a deal with someone to get a beer that I like. So it's called beer trading.
Don't
And
let the
that's
post
one
office
thing.
know. Shh, don't let the post
Hey,
office know
hey, that's true. Don't let the post office know and don't let FedEx know. But that's
about the
something,
ketchup. The ketchup.
the ketchup or candles, Portland ketchup or LeBron James candles, baby. I'm in business. This is what I do. You know what I'm saying? I make candles and I ship them to people across the world. So for me is I look at it as if if these companies are going to get bought out, at least these big business owners or big time big beer business let these individual companies that they buy out um, give them more control. Now a lot of people don't know Ballast Point has a lot of control. Granted, they were bought out for $1 billion and it looked like they just sold their soul and gave everything up, but they still have a lot of control of what's going on. 10 Barrel, they have a lot of control. They sold the business side of things, they didn't necessarily sell the restaurant side of things. So if there was more control um, in the hands of the seller, I think that's awesome. But the reason why I'm waiting for more information to be brought to the surface and for us to further understand what's going on is because, like I said, there's beers on the East Coast that I want to try. There's beers that I don't want to have to worry about trading something with someone else who lives in that area just to get it. Because one, I don't agree with trading. I'm in this group and trading is a big thing, but I'm not a beer trader. I mean, no offense to the guys that like to trade, but I'm not 12 years old, I
Well, it's
don't
not.
want to
It's not.
trade you something to get something. If you're able to get me something, then give it to me. If I have to pay you for the beer, if I have to pay you for the shipping, I'm all for that. But what's going on and what these big beer businesses are seeing is, I mean, they follow the market. They're on social media. They see what's going on. Somebody in Montpelier, Vermont, they want this beer because they read about it, they heard about it. They saw a gentleman on YouTube who reviews every beer known to man. They seen him give a review, watched him give a review, and now they're like, I want that beer. All right. So they go on their trade forum in search of Mowgli, Imperial, Chocolate Porter, Bourbon Barrel Age. I'm looking for that. Like I just told you about 5 minutes ago, this is a $22 bottle of beer. It hits the black market, aka the trade market, and it's marked up to $50. So to make a trade to get this, you either have to send someone, and it depends on how these individuals do their trade. You have to send them the dollar amount in the trade, or you have to send them something that's comparable. So if you don't have anything that's comparable, then you're going to be sending them two, three beers that is hard to get in their area because it's over in your area. So now you have to spend more money to get something that you really want. But if
That's
a
supply
big
and demand, though, is it not?
that is, but if a big company can go ahead and buy someone out and produce it at a faster
So
rate and
store.
distribute it as a faster rate, then I don't have to worry about making a trade for beer that's brewed on the East Coast in Montpelier, Vermont. If I want something from Massachusetts, I can get it. If I want
Well, yeah,
something from Michigan, I don't have to ask my buddy Andrew, hey, can you package some up and send me? If I wanted this brew right here that you mailed up to me last week, I wouldn't have to do it because I could be able to walk into the store and get it myself, and I
well, yeah,
wouldn't
because
have
it would
to
be
wait.
mass distributed, right?
Yes. So that's why I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I understand that yes, it may weed out the small brewer. It may weed out the guys who can only purchase one small section in the grocery store, or one small section at Rite Aid, or one small section at Target, or one small section at Sam's Clubs, Costco. I understand that it may phase them out, but if it's about drinking, having fun, and let everyone know about a beer, then if you want your beer to be out to the public, and find a way to do it. Make sure when you sell out, you remain control over what's going on. And if you don't want to sell out, then you know what I'm saying? Build a better product. You know what I'm saying? Build a product that's gonna allow people to
Well,
come to you, that allow people that are willing to give up the house and the kitchen sink for this one bottle. And there's a lot of breweries out there that make a product that will allow individuals to do that. And they don't necessarily have to sell out to get their beer across the world. On the other side of the United States, in the southern parts of the states, and this brewery is from the Pacific Northwest. So, like I said, I would rather wait for more information to see what else is out there and how it can be done in a way to where it doesn't phase out the small guy and everyone is winning. That's what I would like to see.
but now, is it possible for everybody to win? Like the comparison I just brought up to you earlier with the big market, small market. Is it really possible for the Bucks to win? Is it the Bucks or the small brewery? Ballast Point is the Miami Heat in 2013. Whatever the Lakers in 2001. All the big wigs. Is it possible for the little guys to win in this? If
Yeah,
they
I
get
mean,
bought out, they win
it's
because they
I
get
don't
the
want to
check,
say
and then
I don't want to say it's impossible, but I mean, yes or no, is Minnesota Timberwolves, are they a big market or small
nope.
market team?
Small market.
Big market,
Just
small market. Okay.
small
Now
market.
they just added a great coach, and they have three three outstanding young players that will bring them to where they need to be, since the NBA is getting to
Need to
that
be
point
what?
where all your older players are leaving, and within the next 2 to 3 years you're going to have a league filled with all young players, and your older players will be guys like
LeBron.
Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Westbrook, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. They will be your older players, but they will still be young players. So we're talking within the next 3 to 4 years, your premier players, they're not going to be over the age 31. I mean, they'll probably be close to 30. And guys like LeBron James, who have been around for a very long time, he'll be close to 35. So the league will get to where it's filled with a lot of young players, and those teams that are at the bottom of the barrel, they'll start to thrive. And like I said, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they just got a great coach in. They have the rookie of the year on their team. They have Zach LaVine, who's an awesome player. They have my man, who is, I'm sure the Cavs and them are regretting the fact that they traded Andrew Wiggins over. They have Andrew Wiggins. So they have three
Uh,
super players. You say, and all you want to, but like I said, I bet you any
it's
kind
not
of
like,
money they would prefer him right now over a J.R. Smith, or
and
prefer
they
him
still
right now over a
lose, and they probably still lose, but
no, but I'm saying, but if you can take what he done in the regular season and put him in place of a J.R. Smith in game one or game two, or in place of a Kevin Love in game one and game two, I bet you probably be happier with the results that he would give you based on what a J.R. Smith is giving you and what a Kevin Love is giving you in
well,
those
no, but you
positions,
you
right?
got that wrong though because it would have to be if Wiggins was there, Love wouldn't be there, but J.R. Smith potentially wouldn't be there either.
No,
So
and
then you
that's
have
what I'm
no front.
saying.
Then you have
But
no front line.
no, I understand that, but is you would have front line because you would still have
Who?
Christian Thompson, and then you would still have Timothy
That's
Mozgov. Those guys, that's what I'm saying. Those guys would be getting minutes. So when you say you wouldn't have a front line, you would have a front line because you would still have those two. You would still have Aaron Varejao there because he wouldn't have been traded. So you would still have a front line. You would still have a front line. We're talking the Eastern Conference. You would still have a front line. So that's what I'm saying. If you just go back and you don't make those trades, I'm sure that people would rather deal with what Andrew Wiggins, a young player, would give you now and for the next 5 to 10 years over what a Kevin Love could possibly give you when he's ready to play and when the situation is great, or what a streaky J.R. Smith can give you when he's hot. That's what I'm
what?
trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take Wiggins over Smith. Yeah, but I still don't know if they won the series.
Well, no, I'm not saying that they're going to win the series or not. I'm just saying based on performance and longevity. And this is what we're getting at in this segment here is longevity. Will a small brewer have longevity if they don't sell out? If they can't
Probably
get
not.
their beer inside the store on a shelf, will they have longevity? But if they're bought out, they'll have longevity. They'll still have a company. Granted, they sold out, and majority of the control will be in the hands of Anheuser-Busch, AB InBev. But I mean, those are the one that's going to mass produce your beer. Those individuals are going to be the one to get that beer out to where it needs to be. And you still can be the one creating those recipes and seeing that process happen from start to finish. So, excuse me, if there was a way for these small time brewers to get that or have those stipulations included in a big time sale, I think it's good. But like I said, as of now, since it's at the lower level and we don't know what to expect, then I'm just gonna sit back and say, hey, it sounds good. I want to know more. And since I'm just an individual who drinks and I have no desire to brew beer, open up a brewery, open up a restaurant, open up a tap house, I'm more into I want to be able to drink anything that I like and I want that to be available to me. And Ballast Point beer tastes just like Ballast Point beer tasted 2-3 years ago, and I tried it. Although they've been bought out by AB InBev for the last 6 or 7 months, so as long as the recipes don't change, I'm gonna roll with it because I know at any given moment when I want Ballast Point, I can get it. And the fact that they've been bought out now, Ballast Point is up here in the Pacific Northwest. Yes, over the last few months, it went from just having 2 to 3 options to 6 options. It's here in this area.
I
So
mean,
that's a
God,
good thing for me.
you can get scoping anywhere these days. Hell, it's a DMBs. So
Mhm.
I mean, I guess there's pros and cons in terms of availability.
Yes, yes.
Valve's
All
on
right.
like every tap anywhere. It seems like So
Yeah. Okay. So we'll move on to beer article number 2. And this is an article that you wanted to touch up on and you felt really passionate about this article. So go ahead and take it over.
yeah, no problem. So looks like this was in the San Diego Union Tribune. Title of the article was "Can True Craft Save Beer?" So it looks like some guys from the co-founders from Stone Brewing, are trying to prevent an alternative to selling out to the big beer guys, such as Anheuser-Busch, InBev, and who else did we say just right now? Was it what was the other
Miller's Core,
SAB Miller?
SAB Miller.
Miller.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're trying to I don't want to say this word, but they're trying to kind of step in the way of them. I don't know what word would you use for that. I had a word, but it wasn't really appropriate. They're kind of
Well,
trying to step in the way. They're trying to
the
block
term,
them.
yes, cock blocking,
Okay, if we're gonna, yes, that was the
saving
word
a
that.
hope,
if,
however
if
you
we're
want to
going
take it,
down the
excuse
road,
my
we might as
French.
well go all in. Then yes, they're basically cock blocking the big guys, the cock blocking the suits. So it looks like it's $100 million attempt to rescue the small craft brewers, the two kids, the what is it, Indian Joe? They didn't get bought out,
Indian
right?
Joe? No, not
Indian,
yet.
yet you think? Okay, yet.
No, not yet.
So
No.
True
I
Craft
mean,
will buy.
if you
What? Go
think
ahead.
about it, from what I was told by the owner, because that's one brewery that Marlena enjoys. She enjoyed going to that brewery, having their beer. She enjoyed the environment. She enjoyed the head brewer and his wife. They were people friendly. They would come out. They would have a quick conversation with you, not one time, but multiple times when they brought your beer to your table. And if they were a brewery to get bought out, it'll be awesome because as far as I know, they are the only Native American brewers in the United States. So that's a big thing.
Okay.
So Indian Joe, I mean, would be an individual that could get bought out, but they don't bottle yet. They don't growl yet, as far
They
as I
don't
know. So
growl. The
they don't
hell?
growl yet. I mean, I could be wrong, but during the time when we were there, 2014 was the last visit we made. We didn't make a visit in 2015 because, I left and we left and moved up here. But at that time, they were not growling beer. You can only have the beer on site.
Okay, fair enough. Well, it looks like, these guys, Greg, I'm going to butcher his last name, Greg Koch, and Steve Wagner, they will buy small stakes in these other breweries, no more than 25%. Um, this will allow the breweries to expand or fund other improvements without compromising their independence by borrowing from banks, dealing with venture capitalists, or selling to multinational conglomerates. The irony I see in that is that it kind of seems like True Craft is serving as a venture capitalist. You're getting up to 25% stake. So I don't know how that exactly, kind of that doesn't make any sense to me because you're getting the stake. That's what venture capitalists do. They get stakes. So I guess
Hey,
because you got a
25%
stone
too.
name, 25% is a decent
That's a decent
whatever.
amount, man. You
I
can't
don't
hate on
understand
that.
how that makes them different. I mean, that's what I'm saying. From a business perspective, if you're looking at it from Stone's perspective, the cock blocking Miller and the cock blocking Coors, whatever, everybody else, but they're still being a venture capitalist, but whatever. So we'll keep on going with the article. Um, it's being TrueCraft, by the Stone guys, being funded with 100 million. They're still in the works with that. It could potentially be more. But there's, the details haven't really been completely ironed out yet. So how much is Stone contributing? Where will it be headquartered? Who's leading it? I mean, they mentioned these two co-founders. What financial data will breweries have to share to be considered? The writer of this article in the Union Tribune reached out to a Stone spokesman who said, "To be determined, more to come soon." Let me scratch my head a little bit because that doesn't really tell us
Guys,
anything at
you
all.
have to scratch your head because
Gotta
all
do
that
this.
says is we need to find a way to make this seem legit, but at the end of the day, our pockets is still fat. That's what
And
it
if
sounds like to me.
at the end of the day, they're still venture capitalists. So I don't understand how they try to give off the vibe that they're not, which is just weird to me. But
And I
you
mean,
know,
I guess a comparison I can make is you can go to the bank and you can get a loan for $1,000 and they'll
yep,
charge you, I don't know, 10% interest. All right. Or
I'm gotta get your
or
credit out of the shitter if you're getting the 10%.
got
It's
you.
just not a loan, but
I'm just throwing a number out there. Or you can go to your cousin, all right, and ask him for
yeah.
$1,000. He'll give you $1,000. He's not gonna charge you any interest, but he's gonna make you do some things you don't want to do. And
And
if
he's
you
gonna
go into
text
your
you every
cousin,
other Monday and
he's
ask you
gonna
where the
text you
money's at.
every
But
other Monday but you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, man, do I want to deal with the nagging part if I told my cousin I need to borrow $1,000? I'm gonna pay you back over the course of 6 months, and you texting me every Monday of every month. That's 24 texts throughout 6 months, or I can just go to the bank, get charged the interest, and if I don't pay them, they'll call me one time and they'll just turn it into collections, and
they'll
then
take
I'll
your
owe
car,
the
take your
lender.
house. I mean, I might have to deal with the cousin, but I don't want to be taking my car. Right? If you're from Southern California, the women aren't going to give you any love if you ride the bus. So I'd rather have my car.
They are not. Yeah. So I don't know.
So
I guess when I read the article, um, a lot of people that I spoke to about it, because this was a conversation that went on the group page, and I actually think I shared this on the group page to
oh, you
see
did?
yeah, after you emailed it to me, I shared it on the group page and I say, San Diego brothers, what do you guys think of this? And then I shared it on this other group that I'm tied to, it's like a San Diego group only. It's not a group that's only for people that look like us, i.e., people that look like us. Brothers in
God
Craft
damn
Beers
it!
is only for people that look like us. Hey, I'm
Oh my
sorry.
god!
Everyone has to have their own group. And you know what? Brothers, Brothas, and Craft Beer for the brothers. So I'm in another group where there's, what I'm saying, there's no segregation and it's everyone. And I shared it on there. And it was a lot of individuals speaking on it because this is an actual San Diego group. And a lot of those guys I guess they were complaining more about the fact that they feel that the San Diego beer market is going to totally be erased. And one of the guys mentioned, they're upset that the San Diego market allowed Tim Barrel to build, a brewery and a restaurant. I don't know where this restaurant brewery is going to be built. I mean, maybe
Oh, it
you
didn't
know.
happen yet. It said East Village this year.
Okay, East Village this year. So a lot of people are upset about that. But then I scratched my head and was like, I mean, how are you guys gonna be upset about that? But I've never heard anyone be upset that Rock Bottom is still in La Jolla. That's a brewery and restaurant. I never heard anyone be upset that Gordon Biersch is in Mission Valley. Are they still there?
They should be, yeah. But wait, is Gordon
Yeah.
Beach isn't where they originated from?
Outside of San Diego, but they're that's not a local craft beer restaurant and brewery.
I mean,
Rock Bottom
they
is
kind of suck, but
I'm just saying, no one ever complained about that. So I think if smaller breweries want to succeed, they have to go back to being innovative and I guess stop following the trend. And granted, I've gave Ballast Point some props or whatnot, but it seems like as much as I mean, I thought the grapefruit scoping was awesome. And next thing you know, a pineapple scoping is out. What
yep.
else scoping is out? And like you
Uh,
mentioned, you can get the scoping anywhere. So I mean, and
anywhere.
they still have brewing rights. They still have the right to create their own recipe, do everything that they would do as an independent brewer if they wasn't bought out. So I would suggest to all these smaller breweries, go back to doing what you do best. Stop following the trend. Jump off the line and do something different. And I do understand why a lot of people are upset. I guess the main reason is marketing. And one
I
of the
don't.
guys said, no, and he made a good point. He made a good point. He was like, marketing is a big thing. If you move the small breweries out, then all you have is Budweiser, Bud Light, Miller's, Miller Light, Coors Light. You only have those big time beers, and then you have all the beers that they bought out. And he said, marketing is a big thing. He said, Corona ads are everywhere, but the
Yeah.
beer stinks. But they're still
Not on
selling
Not on
bottles.
Taco Tuesday. It has its niche. It has its niche. On Taco
Hey,
Tuesday, I'm getting the Rona. I'm living the Modelo life. I'm
yo,
just saying it has a niche. It has a niche.
you got a point. But to his point, as he mentioned, they have ads everywhere, and that beer is crap. Except for on Taco Tuesdays, and except for on Cinco de Mayo, and except for September when it's Mexican Independence or Mexican Heritage Month or whatever it is. So, I mean, according to him, he had a good point that when the big time brewers get in or the big time distributors get in, they're just gonna phase out the small guy, and the fact that they have the dollars to market their beer across the United States, then the small guys don't stand a chance. But then, my rebuttal to him was, well, man, it's beer that's on the East Coast that I don't know about because they're not over here. And it's beer that's on the West Coast that the East Coast don't know about. And that word of mouth is traveled through social media. So I
Man,
think beer that individuals know about on the West Coast that isn't marketed through the company is being marketed through people like you and I. So, I don't think ads and advertisements or promotion of beer is an important thing. At least I don't, because like I said, there's beer that through word of mouth I heard about and I want to try just because I heard someone else say it. I
but
didn't see no TV ad. I didn't see no radio
no.
ad. I didn't see none of that. So like I said, I don't think advertisement has a big play in it as some others do. I understand it and I do think it would help, but at the end of the day, you know, everyone is going to talk about the best beer that's out there. And although Corona, Bud Light, Budweiser, and all this stuff has all these millions of dollars attached to their marketing, no one is talking about their beer. So that's why I
But
don't think marketing and advertisement has a big pool like people think. Go ahead.
it it doesn't. But those beers have captured their niche, and they get those commercials, and they have their clientele. They have their niche where they're always going to survive. So it's like they got the name to fall back on. You got to put respect on their name. So it's like you got the
All
vacation
three of y'all.
commercials. You got it. All of y'all put some respect on the name. So when you think Corona, you think vacation beer. You think Taco Tuesday, salsa dancing, whatever. Wherever you get your Corona, you get it. You go watch the game.
So I'm guessing
Coors,
when you think Bud Light, you thinking mowing the grass.
hell no. I'm thinking NFL, Coors, whichever one it is. Bud Light, Coors. I'm thinking
Bud Light.
NFL. NFL is it? It's both, is it not? It's both. I believe it's
It's Bud
both.
Light.
One or the other.
It's
At some point, they're
Bud Light.
both in the NFL. They're both relevant in the NFL, are they not? Coors or Bud Light, one of them has a hold on the NFL. So at some point, they got the backing of that, even though it's a terrible beer. They're backed by NFL. That's money. They're all over TV. When you see Coors, you see the guys, whatever the guys at the bar trying to pick up the blonde chicks, and they got the Coors, or you got the NFL commercial with Coors, whatever. So like they have something to fall back on. You when you think of Coors, you think of NFL. When you think of Corona, you think vacation. You think Taco Tuesday, blah blah blah, party. Okay, so then I mean, like you think about these other guys, like okay, Stone wants to come in, and this article is horribly. I'm not saying I'm the next J.K. Rowling, but this article was written pretty bad. I don't know if you read, but there's like we talk about hypocrites. I know you love to talk about hypocrites, and if you scroll up and look at the beginning, just hear me out. Hear me out at the beginning. Okay, so we say this gives craft brewers another option to selling out to big beer, and they talk about how this is not venture capitalism. And then you scroll to the bottom of the article, and then what do we say? We say smaller, underfunded breweries often struggle with success. Either sell your soul to big beer or go the venture capital route. But then 3 paragraphs earlier it says they're not venture capitalists. Like, what the hell? This article, I'm just saying, like, I always read at a higher level when I was in elementary school, and I could have written a better article than this in like 5th grade. But that's besides the point. Whatever. I'm just saying, if it came down to it, and I see where Stone's trying to get in, where they fit in, but like at the end of the day, if I'm Two Kids or Indian Joe, and Stone wants to come and take 25% of me, or I can sell my soul and get my beer in Albertsons and everywhere else in the summer, I'm gonna sell my soul and get the check. Like I still get my beer, I get my name out there more, and then so Stone's gonna take the stake and do what? I mean, they're just Stone's just getting the little cut out of every little small brewery, kind of like how Birdman gets his check from Nicki Minaj, he gets his check from Drake, he gets his check from Lil Wayne, and then they go sue his ass. Like it's like, so I see what Stone's trying to do, and I can't hate the hustle, but if I'm these small guys, I'm just gonna go sell out to the big guy and get my beer everywhere. What is Stone really going to do for me that Coors can't do? Coors is gonna get my name out there. Stone's gonna be like, oh, we're here to help. Let me get 25%. And then what are you going to do from there? Serve me some nasty ass pasta for $50 at your beer garden? So I just sell my soul and go get my beer everywhere and have respect on my name. That's what I would do.
Yeah, well, I like your take on it, and I sort of, like I said, I sort of kind of feel the same way, but I just want to wait and see what's going on and what the future holds for these small independent brewers. And I think for me, it all comes down to quality. At the end of the day, quality. If I had my way, every week I would send you a stainless steel growler, or I would send Antonio a stainless steel growler. I would have you guys or Antonio or both of you guys go to Offbeat Brewing, fill that growler, send it to me because that's how
The
great
brown,
that beer is. That
the brown,
that brown ale, baby, that Bear Arms brown ale. So if any brewer or brewery in San Diego is bought out, then I hope Offbeat Brewing is bought out. I hope they are. I kind of wish Stone put 25% in them because, the original co-founder of Stone is the co-owner and founder of Offbeat Brewing. So, like I said, for me, I like the thought of it because it'll put me in a position to have those beers that I would like to try that I can't try based on the simple fact it's only available in a market on the other side of the United States. And for me to obtain that beer, I have to almost trade away my life to get it because some guy is asking for 40 acres and a mule, and the tractor, and the house, and all the food for all the farm animals. They are asking for
Sheep,
everything. So,
sheep,
you know what
sheep
I'm saying?
wool.
Yeah. So for me, I like it for the simple fact that obviously AB InBev, SAB Miller's Coors, they're gonna go out and they're gonna purchase and try to buy out those breweries that are popular amongst pop culture, amongst guys like you and I, amongst the guys that are in our beer group, amongst the guys that love beer on the East Coast. They're gonna only buy out the best brewers. They're not gonna buy out nasty brewers or nasty beer. Ballast Point, they don't brew nasty beer, they brew great beer. 10 Barrel, before they were bought out, when I knew of 10 Barrel, it was right around the time that they were in the process of selling out. But that pub beer in the can, I thought that beer was pretty good. I mean, I went to a few little, I guess you can say, barbecues during my first year here with that beer, and everybody loved it. Then I found out that they sold their soul, and it wasn't a big deal to me because, like I said, the beer is good. And I've been drinking Ballast Point for since what, 2000, and I want to say 12ish up until now. And they've been bought out now for maybe the last 6 months, and the beer still tastes the same to me. Now, when the beer
Yeah.
start tasting like Bud Light or Budweiser or Natural Light, Natural Ice, or Bud Light Lime, hold on. Although Bud Light Lime is great on a hot
Oh
summer
my
day at a
God.
barbecue, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna act like I haven't drank a number of bottles, especially cans of Bud Light Lime. It's great on a hot summer day. But like I said, at the end of the day, for me, it's all about being able to have that beer or that alcoholic beverage that I enjoy, and I can go to the store and purchase it. And I don't have to make a trade with guy who lives in Georgia who's gonna uh, up the trade more than what it needs to be for me to get a beer or a single can. That if you do the division and the math on the beer and a six pack, that can is only $1.50, 59, 69, 79 cents. But the individual marked the beer can up to $5, and now I have to send him 2 or 3 beers for an equal value to get the beer that I want. So that's one
It's like
reason why I'm
trading
not
some
big on
damn
trading.
Pokemon cards or something, man. Shit is
Yeah, so
crazy.
that's one reason why I'm not big into it. But I understand your take. I like where you're coming from, and like I said, I would prefer to wait to see what's going to happen, what's going to unfold, and how it's going to be for the future. The last thing I want to see is someone, what they use to take care of their family, the money that they generate in for their family, diminish based on the fact that big beer is forcing them out of their area of expertise. I don't want to see that, but I do want to see that small brewer, that beer that I enjoy, in multiple stores across America. So
I mean,
that's where I
Stone,
feel where I'm at.
give us some details. It's still like a lot of gray area here. Like, I mean, has this even started yet? Like, there's just too many details that aren't really explained in this article. I mean, the article
Yeah,
is kind of poorly written, so
yeah, that's true.
whatever. I'm
That's
sure
true.
we'll get more news updates as the summer goes on. I mean, this was
That's
written
true.
last month, so we'll
Yeah.
see.
Okay. And before we finish up, we just want to touch on the top 15 beers of the summer. So I'm gonna ask you, Jared. We got a few more minutes before we end this. When you think of summer, being in Southern California, being in an area where it's 82, 85, almost 90 and sunny every day, what is your go-to beer, or what type of beers you enjoy during the summertime when it's hot outside?
As much as I have my love and affection for stouts and porters, they're not really summer beers, so usually have to go with something lighter. Maybe a decent blonde beer, pale ale, something maybe a little bit on the sweeter side. I'm not crazy about the sweeter beers, but Sierra Nevada Pale Ale works for me. I'll go with that. The Guinness Blonde. Surprisingly, that one's been a decent one. I've had that multiple times, and something like that, something lighter, something you can have, multiple pints of at barbecue. Something more on that side. Usually tend to stay away from the darker beers. I know we reviewed a stout today, but Definitely Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. I go with that over the summer. What about you?
Well, for me, I know you don't like it. I know you're not fond of it, but I go for something that's on the citrus side and on the sweet side, because
Man,
I would
this
hope when it's hot
melon.
outside and it's summer and I'm drinking a beer, if I'm not sitting on my back porch, or if I'm not sitting on my front porch, or if I'm not at a little barbecue or something like that, I want to have something that's kind of crisp. So top 15 beers of the summer. We're not going to go through all of them because we added the link on our show page. So you should be able to click on that link. And when you click on that link, it's going to give you the rundown of the top 5, 10, 15 beers of the summer. And leading off number one is the Pineapple Scope by Ballast Point. I don't know if
Not
you tried that before,
surprised.
Jared. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, I've
not
had it.
surprised either. That's pretty.
Wait, no,
That's
pineapple. No, no, no. I had grapefruit, not the pineapple. I know
great.
the pineapple's the 6 packs now, right?
Yes, it is. So I've had the pineapple on tap. Another beer, which I had the other day, is this Green Flash Passion Fruit Kicker. This bottle right here.
It's
It's
probably sweet as
delicious.
hell, isn't it?
Not necessarily. It's a wheat ale. And it gives you a fruit taste, but it's like a unnamed fruit taste. So you have to try it. If you want to see pictures of the beer, you can jump onto my Instagram at Remember the Solution on Instagram. Go ahead and find that. Or if you just hashtag Green Flash, hashtag Passion Fruit Kicker, you will see my post and you will see the wonderful color of this beer. It doesn't give a heavy head. It's probably because of the type of glass I had it in, but I put it in a different glass so you can see the color of the beer. But I mean, it was great. And I had it yesterday. Me and my lady, we both drank one each yesterday. It was, once again, like I said, 90 plus. I wasn't outside drinking it. I wish I was just to see how it made me feel, but it had a nice, crisp taste. So that's one of the top 15 beers of the summer. Um, Another one of those beers. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Lost Coast, but I think hands down, when we come to popularity of just a brown ale that you can just go to the store and pick up, they have a downtown brown. They also have the Great White, which is like a white ale, and they also have this tangerine wheat ale, which is a summer beer. It's awesome, and I don't know if you had that before, but a cool thing about Lost Coast, they're like one of two, I think, women brewers in the United States. So I think it's no more than a handful of women brewers in the United States. And these two ladies take care of business and they produce a great brown ale.
You said downtown
The
brown?
downtown brown. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I've had
Downtown brown.
that. Yeah, I've had
Man,
that.
that is wonderful. And then they also have a stout that's pretty good as well. And they're out of Northern California, man. It's like right before the border of California and Oregon. So it's like on the coast, northern, all the way up to the tip top of California. Another
Left
good
hand.
summer beer is this Steigl Radler, which is a grapefruit beer with fruit soda. You have to try this. Now, when you mention hipster, this is like the hipster beer right here. You can get this bad baby in a can or you can get it in a bottle. But when you go to your day parties or you go to that late night hipster bar, you can get that in a can for $2.50,
The
$3.50.
hell?
I've never had it on tap before. I've only had it in a can. It's like a 15-ounce can because their bottle sizes are weird. So this is like an 11-ounce bottle. Most bottles in America is 12-ounce bottles. So that's like an 11-ounce bottle. But it's great. And I mean crisp. I mean, I've been to a couple of day parties since I've been here in this city. And I mean, just sipping on that is really smooth. It tastes great. And like I said, it's not as heavy. It's something that you can drink all day long and not feel the effects of a hangover when you stop drinking. Also on that list is 6 Point Brewing.
Wild.
They have a beer called the Jammer, and 6 Point Brewing is out of Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Um, 21st Amendment. They have this Hell or High Watermelon Wheat ale. Please try that. I've had that last year for the first time when I moved here. Straight out the can, it was pretty good. Although you're not a fan of fruity beers, Sea Dog Brewing,
Hell
they
no.
have this blueberry wheat ale. I
I
had it
just
2 years
passed by
ago.
that. I'm from Maine,
I think,
right?
yeah, from Maine. That's right, from Maine. Man, I actually like that. And Sierra Nevada has I think it's called a Ultra Vez Goose style. It's brewed with cactus and grapefruit. I have to try that within the next couple of weeks. It's one of those beers that's just on my hit list. Um, and obviously, if you're a big fan of Kona, I mean, Kona have the Castaway IPA, another summer beer. I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, probably jacked up the name, but it's the Walua wheat. That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
remember that one.
That is awesome. And then New Belgium, they also have this beer called the Snapshot. Those two beers aren't on this list, but it's definitely summer beers. And a beer that Jared and I are going to review within the next couple of weeks from Rogue Brewing here in Oregon. It's the Honey Kolsch. And like I said, stay tuned. If I don't review it by myself in episode 7.5, then we'll probably get to it in episode 11 or 12 because I think we're pretty set on beers for episode 9 and 10. But they have the bottles ready to go at my local bottle shop, Belmont Station. So that's something that we're going to review. And I've heard nothing but good things about it. So,
Thank God they got Magic Hat number 9 on here. There is hope for
yeah,
this list.
man.
Thank you. That's probably the
I
best
mean,
beer on here, but
I'm not even gonna lie, man. Magic Hat number 9 is a great beer. I mean, this beer was introduced to me in, I want to say 2012 because I started working for Anheuser-Busch in 2011. And that's when I started drinking beer. So for most of you guys who don't know me, I wasn't the type of person who was drinking before the age of 21. I didn't drink at all until 2011. And I turned the age of 21 in 2008. So prior to 2011, I didn't consume much alcohol. And if I did consume alcohol, it was like at a base party where people were playing beer pong and I was on a team, so I had to drink some Bud Light or Coors Light or whatever they had. And every now and then you may have like a shot of vodka or a shot of Hennessy, but I didn't buy alcohol and have alcohol at my house. And the only time I did consume it is if I was out. And most of the time when I was out, prior to being 21, I wasn't at a place that served alcohol. So it was that little small party. So in 2011 is when like I started going out and buying my own beer. And I think for the most part, the only beer that I really had at the house was San Lucas. It was like a knockoff version of Corona that was like $2 or $3 cheaper than a 6 pack of Corona. And then I would buy like the Land Shark beer. So what I'm saying, I started drinking crap, but like I said, Magic Hat number 9, a friend who once lived in Vermont, went to school in Vermont, was drinking this beer, years before it was a big thing across the United States and before they sold out. And that's how I got addicted to that beer. And they didn't have it on the shelves here when I first moved here, but I started speaking to the guys at John's Market, and also my guys at Belmont Station, and now they have it in 6 pack bottles. So next time I make a beer run, I'm really gonna pick that up because that is a great summertime beer. So you
pretty
already
solid.
know it's pretty solid.
In between them is what is it like? They say not a quite a IPA, not quite a pale ale.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I guess before we wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, we're just gonna give our predictions for game 3. So for me, I'm predicting the Cavs win game 3. Um, I think they need to decide to either bench Kevin Love or bench Kyrie Irving. They can't be
What?
played at the same time. They have to bench one of them. They can't be played at the same time, or the Warriors will slaughter their defense.
So you told me start Dellavedova?
Start Dellavedova, or we'll start
Oh
Channing Frye.
God. I
Let
mean
Love
Channing.
sit out. Let Love sit out on the bench, and maybe he can gain confidence to shoot out the Warriors reserved. At least if you have Fry in the roster, he'll stretch the floor a little bit and you just let him and J.R. Smith jack up 3-point shots since that's the way Tyronn Lue wants to play. And you just pray that Thompson can clean up all the boards. I would
And then
suggest to let LeBron James play all 48 minutes. All 48 minutes, man. Use him like a workhorse. I would suggest start shooting threes, jacking up threes in pure desperation because they need to win this game. And the only reason why I say that is because the Cavs attempted the third most three pointers this season. And throughout the playoffs, when they were hot, they were knocking them down. And as you mentioned, J.R. Smith is a streaky guy. He has range. When he gets hot, he's going to knock him down. So I'm not sure why Tyronn Lue is not letting that happen. It seems like they took shooting away from J.R. Smith and forced him to be a defender because as you can see, he's only attempted a total of what 12 shots in 2 games. And any you
if
can go
that
back and look. Yeah, it's a total. It was what he was like 9. He took
3 in the
shot
first
six.
one, was 6 in the second,
Okay, so
right?
yeah,
So
so
about
9 to 12 baskets. So that's,
nine.
I mean, that's well below what he would normally take. So I would give him the free reign to just take shots, make shots, get him ready to score the basket. And I mean, I'm predicting the Cavs win a relatively close game, 96 to 89. What you got?
89. I just as pathetic as they've looked the past couple games, I just can't see them losing 3 in a row. LeBron goes for 30. They start a front line of Tristan Thompson, Timothy Mozgov, and LeBron James. Uh, Mozgov guards Bogut. Thompson matches up with Draymond Green. Somehow that works out. God knows why. Tyronn Lue uses some common sense and throws Channing Frye into the lineup because hell, you traded for the guy, you might as well use him.
Gotta
Somehow he
use him.
manages to go 4 from 6 from 3 point land. Um, Kyrie Irving learns what it means to pass the ball and get 6 assists.
Or
J.R.
learns what
Smith,
it means to not rhythm dribble.
I mean that's some of the best handles in the league though. So I mean that rhythm dribbling doesn't get picked too often. To put some people on the back. So I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
J.R. Smith hits 3 threes. LeBron gets 35. 195 Cleveland.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're both on the same page. So I mean, as you guys know, this was episode 7. If all is good, we'll probably do a live stream, episode 7.5, just to recap game 3. Um, I guess it depends on the result. Since we're both picking Cleveland, I mean, it would be great to see us enjoy ourselves for a win. Because I don't think there was the live stream that I did a week ago, or maybe a week and a half ago, when the Oklahoma City Thunder won. I did a live stream to recap that game. So I guess be prepared. We're both picking the Cavs. Jared thinks they're going to break over 100. I'm afraid to say they're going to break over 100 just because of the simple fact they haven't been close to breaking over 100 in the first 2 games. What they scored 80 in the first game and 77 in the last game. So that's why I'm leaning more towards, just a tad bit over 95, 96 to 89. But I like your motivation with the 101 to 95. That's great. I can see the Golden State Warriors scoring 90 plus points if you can see them, but I'm going to stick to 89 points, one shy of 90, and give Cavs that good old 7.7 point win. So, I mean, I guess we have something to look out for, and we have the Cavs winning. With that being said, our beer feature for next week, if you would like to partake in the tasting with us, is going to be 12-ounce bottles here. So we're going to have the Commodore, which is an American stout, Ballast Point, a brewery that we spent a lot of time talking about today. If we can see that. You can see that. Commodore. We're going to go with that. And we're also going to go with the Victory at Sea, which is a porter with coffee and vanilla. Victory at Sea. And I'm going to be honest, the Victory at Sea I haven't tried before. The Commodore, I've had that on tap a number of times. So interested at drinking both. The Stout is coming in at 6.5 and the porter here is coming in at 10.0. So it looks like we'll be drinking the Stout before the porter, which is somewhat backwards, but you know, it is what it is. For some odd reason, it looks like Jarrett has tapped out. So I'm going to go ahead and end the show. As you all know, you can find us on Google Plus at C&J Sports and Beer Podcast. You can always find me on Twitter at CJ Sports Beer Pod. You can also find us on Tumblr at www.cnjsportsandbeerpodcast.tumblr.com and YouTube, our YouTube channel. You can hit us up. We always add the link at the bottom of our video, so you can click on that link to see any past videos and get the schedule of our upcoming videos. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. We had some minor technical difficulties, but you know, we got back to where we needed to be, and we handled our business. At the end of the day, this is a show about two friends, and for individuals that want to join in. We appreciate the love. We appreciate you guys' time. We can't wait to chop it up with you guys again. Song that we're going to end the night is from The Works. You know, we embody real creative soul. My two homeboys from Oceanside, they start the show out for us. Tonight, they're going to end the show for us. This song is called, we're going to end this song with the Traveling song right here. It's a great song. It means a lot to me. And if you know me, you know why it means a lot to me. But you guys have a great night. You have a great week. We will most likely see you after game number 3 of the NBA Finals. Stay locked. Stay true to yourself. Love, peace. Have a great night. We'll see you guys in a short few days.
I'm traveling on and I ain't worried about a thing today, cause I ain't got a destination. I'm traveling on and I ain't worried about where I'm headed or where I've been, cause I'm gone. And I ain't never coming back, cause I'm gone. So gone. Packing up luggage bags, I'm gone. So gone. Put an X on the map and I'm gone. So gone. This is the travel. Yo, I gotta travel like ships to space and blast off. Might miss my face, I'm so out of here, baby. And maybe not today, but tomorrow I might be landing somewhere out of this planet. I catch me on the boat, something bigger than Titanic. Don't panic, I ain't sinking. I'm just thinking about the next place I might be. Cool white tee, straw hat, roaming the streets, and I'm a cool dude following my own 2 feet. Not sure where they going, but they might just meet on the beach where the sand ain't free. Tropical drink, a deep into a jungle like canopy. And I can tell you I'm roaming, I ain't talking about cell phone. And homie, I'm going where there ain't no touring, y'all know. Following this road with no rules to this rare world. Careful, I'm car sick, I do her back to the X in my map. No atlas, I map this route without giving it practice. Open shows in the songs I go. Y'all know, y'all following Joe. It's the traveling song. I'm traveling on and I ain't worried about a thing today, cause I ain't got a destination. I'm traveling on and I ain't worried about where I'm headed or where I've been, cause I'm gone. So gone. And I ain't never coming back, cause I'm gone. So gone. Packing up luggage bags, I'm gone. So gone. Put an X on the map and I'm gone. So gone. This is the traveling song.
I gotta go, y'all. Got my things packed up. Backpack shut, got my iPod tucked in my hoodie, flight set ready. Itinerary heavy, fit a hat sweaty. Grab my luggage, what's my celly? I got it cool. So what's the time and the place? I asked Joe about the time zone. I'm about to roam like Caesar. I got my visa, you can't deny me. I tell the stewardess so Connie that I like a pillow, and then I'm gone. Longitude, latitude set, yo, we are.
I'm traveling on and I ain't worried about a thing today.